Applejack stepped down from the stage, ponies muttering all around her. She lifted her head at the sound of quick hoofsteps, seeing her brother come trotting up to her. "Ooh, Nellie, you're a sight for sore eyes, Big Mac. What you got for me?" The red stallion looked at the crowd around him before answering. "Well, my guard's nigh searched." "Shh!" Applejack stared at her brother, motioned him closer. Once he had leaned in, she whispered, "Not so loud, big brother. I told him that we need some more evidence has come up in the other pony's case, and so judgment is postponed." Her brother looked at her nervously, not liking the sight of his sister lying. "Look," she continued, "if they knew the Shadow Bolt was loose, they'd hunt the town for her, smashing doors, windows, and homes in their search. Better to just let 'em cool down for now." Big Mac nodded sagely. "Well, me and my guards just searched the dungeons. Looks like Rainbow Dash just let her out. We also scanned the room where Dash was attacked, and found a big old Shadow Bolt uniform just lying on the ground there. Darn it! I knew we should have just stripped their masks off right away. Rarity in her damn theatrics. I swear, that pony—" She stepped down and took a deep breath, her stressed body beginning to relax. "Okay, Applejack, just calm down. Okay, big brother, you gotta go ahead and get the guards searching. Have them look for suspicious ponies that they haven't seen before. But don't let this turn into a witch hunt. I'm gonna go take another look at that uniform. It's the best lead we have for now." Big Mac nodded, and Applejack began galloping away. She knew Rarity was safe in that bunker, especially with Twilight and Dash guarding her, but she was still nervous. "I don't know pony left through the gates, 'cause you need another pony to close them behind you, and they're all still closed. That means she's still here somewhere." As she ran, her eyes scanned the darkness in the ceiling above her. She could be behind a stalactite, inside any crevice, waiting to make her move. The only way Applejack was going to know where to look for her was if she knew what her move was. She arrived at the guardhouse, moving behind the large building to find the natural tunnel opening. The tunnel descended smoothly, ponies having smoothed out the tougher patches to make travel easier. She arrived quickly at the storeroom where Dash was attacked, most of the storerooms being very close to the main chamber for ease of access. She pushed the door open to find the room deserted. A blue fungus bed glowed softly in the room, but Applejack grabbed a torch from outside to give her better lighting. Affixing it to the wall, she turned towards the scene before her. The captain's outfit, torn in numerous places from the wounds its wearer had endured, lay in a heap against the wall. The mask and goggles lay near the doorway, next to rope from the dungeon. Scanning the room quickly, Applejack could see the stacks of boxes took up at least a dozen feet in the room, leaving only about 4 feet to move in from the door. So Dash dragged her here, and untied her here. She looked at the discarded ropes. But then the Shadow Bolt attacked her, and knocked her into the crates there. She looked towards where the crates lay smashed in a large pile, the floor hidden completely beneath them. So then the Shadow Bolt stripped off her uniform over there, and put her mask and goggles on the other side of the room? No, that doesn't make sense. She must have had them off before she attacked Dash. Which means... Dash know who she is? Applejack spoke out loud, her disbelief refusing to be constrained to her mental thoughts. She was even more surprised when her question was answered by another sound in the room. Rarity turned towards the door as she heard it close. "Ah, Rainbow Dash, I'm glad it's you. I don't think I could have stood another minute of Twilight's complaints." She turned back towards the stove, the nauseating smell of fried mushrooms revealing what she was doing. Dash took a step forward, examining the room. It appeared to be a natural cavern that had connected to the main chamber by chance. A whistling sound could be heard coming from a dark hole in the ceiling, revealing the connection to the open sky and fresh air. 4 cots lay on the bare stone along one wall, with several stacks of dried foodstuffs and barrels of water lining the other wall, next to the stove. The whole chamber was maybe 40 feet in diameter, big enough for a few ponies to survive in comfort, if also boredom, for quite a long time. Rarity used her magic to lift some food onto a plate, which she set on a table in front of Rainbow Dash. Despite the atmosphere, she had taken great pains to set the table appropriately, even folding the napkins around the silverware in the most ornate fashion she knew. Rainbow Dash unfurled the napkin and looked at its contents quizzically, before simply going at the food face first. Rarity suppressed a wince. Rainbow Dash, I'm sure in your world they still have manners. Not to be rude, my dear, but, well, you are being quite rude yourself. Rainbow Dash looked up and swallowed hard, looking the unicorn right in the eye. Oh, yes, I know about manners. I guess I just assumed that in a town without morals, polite society would be gone as well. Rarity sniffed and turned away, nose in the air. We've all made hard choices, my dear. I don't judge you for yours. I'd suggest you learn a little bit of respect for your friends. No, you don't judge me. Then again, you never judged Spitfire either. Was she a good friend of yours, too? Rainbow Dash was chewing nonchalantly on her food, toying with her silverware with her good hoof. The Shadowbolt was to be condemned to death the moment she put on the enemy's uniform, Rainbow Dash. She scoffed at her. You may be too sheltered to understand times of war, but let me assure you, every Shadowbolt we spare is another pony of ours we put at risk. Rarity looked down her snout at the other pony, expecting a reaction out of her, but Rainbow Dash simply continued chewing, staring absently at the knife she twirled. Funny thing about enemy unicorns, Rarity. Twilight tried to look past them, and found the lieutenant didn't deserve to die. Of course. You killed her anyway. Rarity's ears perked up. Lieutenant? Was that her rank in the Shadowbolts? How did you... You know, Rarity, interrupting is awfully rude. She spun the knife around and around on this point, the blade gouging tiny bits of wood out of the table with every turn. You see, I tried the same thing. I went through an awful lot of trouble to try and look under the enemy uniform, to try and understand her better. Maybe, I thought, she has a reason for her actions. Some justification. Any justification. So, that's why you really set the other prisoner free, then? Rarity sighed, looking at her friend pityingly. I'm not surprised you didn't find anything. Rainbow Dash sighed. I really hoped I would. I really, desperately, wanted there to be a reason for this killing. I guess I shouldn't really be surprised. I found nothing. Twilight stared at the cavern ceiling. It almost looks like the sky, she mused. All it needs are a few stars. She was finding that the eternal dark cavern was beginning to mirror the darkness of day, weighing her down a little more every hour. In the center of town, the comfort of other ponies kept it away, but here, on the fringes, Twilight found herself huddled around the pool of light cast by her solitary torch. Twi! Twi! Twilight turned her head towards the noise. In the distance, she could just make out the figure of a pony galloping towards her. She figured out who it was by the sound of her voice before she came clearly into sight. Applejack? Did you find the prisoner? Twilight! Get that door open now! Applejack finally arrived at the door, panting heavily and trying to open it. It didn't budge, but she kept trying anyway. Applejack, what's going on? It's just Rainbow Dash and Rarity in there. We made sure it was empty when we got here. Twilight was puzzled, not sure if she should be helping her friend or not. Did you find the prisoner or not? No, Twi. I found something worse. I found Rainbow Dash. But what? She's inside with... Twilight froze, understanding dawning on her. Rainbow Dash twirled the knife in her hoof, thinking quietly to herself. Out of the corner of her eye, she could see the unicorn growing nervous. Well, I suppose that just goes to show you. Some ponies are just bad, Rarity followed up. Yes, I suppose they are. And sometimes a hard decision must be made about those ponies. Sometimes a good pony simply must. Would you kindly stop doing that? Dash caught the knife as it spun, holding it still. Slowly, she raised her gaze up to look at the unicorn in front of her. Thank you. As I was saying, sometimes, in the most unfortunate of circumstances, a pony simply must be killed. I completely agree. Then you agree with me killing the shadow bolts? Rarity's eyes filled with hope. I never thought I'd convince you, Rainbow Dash. I thought I'd have to fight you on this until the end of our days. She smiled warmly at her old friend. No. I simply... What? No. I don't agree with you killing the shadow bolts. There were choices here, and you simply picked the one that suited you and your people the most. A loud bang could be heard against the door, but the captain didn't turn her head. Oh, it sounds like they found our missing prisoner. Rarity walked to the door, nervously giving Rainbow Dash a wide berth. She froze as she began to make out the frantic cries of the ponies on the other side. Yes, I suppose they have. The captain stood. Her injured hoof slipped out of her sling. In horror, Rarity watched the captain pick up the knife and toss it calmly back and forth. Rarity's breath froze. Her nervous breathing stopped completely. Fear and shock rooted her to the ground as her frantic mind tried to catch up. No. No. No, 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 no. You died for me, for us. Part of me did. The captain began advancing towards her, knocking the stool out of the way. And the part that's left is all the stronger for it. What I want to know, Rarity, is what you are thinking right now. More than anything else, I want to hear the regret in your voice. I want you to know what you almost did tonight. Who the pony was underneath the mask. The captain strode forward, twirling the knife around and around. Rarity shrunk back further, her mind blank with terror. Because I've seen what lies beneath my enemy's mask, Rarity. I've looked past the colors of your flag and seen the ponies behind them. I've judged you much more fairly than you've judged me or my friend. And I've found you guilty. Rarity felt a pressure on her back and realized she had backed up against the wall. The door lay to her left, but it would take several seconds to unlock and open it for her friends. Desperately, she tried to buy herself some time. What about your loyalties, Dash? To Applejack and Twilight. The next sensation Rarity knew was pain. She looked straight ahead and found herself staring at blood on the ground. She watched in shock as a tooth fell out of her mouth, turning to see the captain drawing back her hoof. Grabbing the unicorn by the throat, the captain dragged her face right to hers. Let's be perfectly clear about this, Rarity, she began. I hate you. I have no loyalties to you or any of the ponies here. Nightmare Moon ordered us to obliterate Ponyville and kill everyone there, and I didn't. My first order as captain of the Shadowbolts was ignored so that I could pay off the debt of loyalty to you all. The hammering outside had stopped. My loyalties are to my friends, and you never earned that title. None of you did. She tossed Rarity backwards, her flank landing in a puddle of blood. You murdered the only pony that ever had. She raised her hoof above her. And then what? Rarity cried out in desperation. Will you just walk out of here after you kill me? This town will tear you to pieces." The captain laughed, and Rarity could see tears in her eyes. The laugh went on for several moments, her hysterics breaking through. "I don't care, you fool. I don't care if they kill me. I want them to kill me. I died when you killed my last hope for a brighter future. So let them come. Let them find me over your shredded body. I'll gladly die if it means you were slaughtered like the swine you are." Rarity closed her eyes, sobbing with terror. Her flank heaved and twitched rapidly as she stifled her cries. If she was to die, she'd do it with grace. She braced herself for the coup de grace. But it didn't come. Gingerly, she opened one eye and looked at the pony above her. The captain stood on her hind hooves, knife grasped above her head. "I can end it now," she thought. "Justice for Spitfire. Even Twilight outside knows she should die. I have every reason to kill her. So why can't I?" The thought of Twilight brought back memories of the conversation she had had with the purple unicorn outside. Rarity was a murderer, and Spitfire was innocent. The captain was prepared to die for her crimes against Ponyville if it meant making Rarity answer for hers. But what was the point? What was the point of justice if it leads to more death? The captain lowered herself, the knife clattering to the floor beneath her. Rarity let out a nervous laugh. Then her own hysterics broke through. "Oh, Rainbow Dash! Thank you, thank you, thank you! Your generosity towards me will live on forever in this town, and I'll make sure that no pony—" Rarity blinked and wondered what happened. Gradually, she became aware of more pain in her face, and realized that her head was lying on the ground. "You're guilty, and you know it." The captain loomed over her, but eventually, some pony needs to bite the bullet and end this. Some pony needs to be the bigger pony. She looked towards the door outside, and Rarity detected a hint of gratefulness. "You're not even worth killing," she continued. "You and these deluded foals can sit here and starve for all I care. I'm not losing another of my friends in some stupid quest to extinguish an already dying flame." But Rarity blinked, shocked. "You aren't going to kill me?" "No," she began. "Worse. I'm going to let you live with this, Rarity. I'm going to make you live with the knowledge of what you've done. But mostly, I'm going to make you live with the knowledge of what I've done." She spit in Rarity's face, but her anger was under control now. "I saved your life, and you killed my only friend. Remember this, Rarity, because this is the day that your enemy was the bigger pony." She scowled and looked towards the door, where the noises had long since ceased. "Now, open the door before I change my mind." As Rarity scrambled to her hooves and threw herself upon the door mechanism frantically, the captain flew towards the escape tunnel and thought, "Perhaps there is something to live for now," she mused. "Something to look forward to the future for. Spitfire is gone. The Shadow Bolts will never be any more than a tool for Nightmare Moon, and New Ponyville will eventually starve. There's probably no hope for a better tomorrow anymore." She heard the door beneath her open, but she was already winding her way through the natural tunnel. "But I can try,"